Nice.
Welcome to Action Packed, where we look at action movies and find out just how packed they are. Today we'll be taking a look at Salt. That's right. The 2010 action spy thriller starring Angelina Jolie. Salt was written by world's biggest Chad, Kurt Wimmer, probably most famous for writing Equilibrium back in 2002. Wimmer had the idea for Salt all the way back then, and with 8 years in between the initial idea and when Salt was actually released, a lot happened. It gives us, the viewer, a kind of interesting look at how scripts and ideas evolve before being finished. The final version that was released and that we're checking out stars Angelina Jolie, but the original version had Tom Cruise set in the leading role. The writers couldn't figure out a way to differentiate the character of Salt enough from Ethan Hunt, Cruise's character in Mission Impossible, so the character of Salt was eventually replaced with Angelina Jolie. The movie is directed by Phillip Noyce, whose other action credits include some political classics with Harrison Ford, so I'd say he seems like a pretty good fit for the whole Russia-US war stuff. Salt follows protagonist, CIA agent Evelyn Salt, as she's ousted as a Russian spy and revealed to be an essential piece in a plot to start a nuclear war. Salt goes on the run, leading us on a goose chase that's basically the whole movie long. Throughout the movie, we find out more about Salt's past and who she really is, and she just kind of runs around trying to clear her name and stop the war plot. A sequel wasn't out of question back in 2010 when the movie was originally released, but with no new news around it all the way here in the future in 2022, I have a feeling it's probably unlikely to have like an original cast back. Salt also has 3 different cuts, a theatrical version, an extended version, and the one we're gonna check out, the director's cut. The theatrical version had parts cut and seems more toned down, while the extended version has a different ending altogether. I'll leave that one in the description if you want to check it out. I like the director's cut best, mostly because it's a more pure vision from Phillip Noyce. It's also got more action, and by now you gotta know how I feel about that. How Noyce is the action? Let's start the movie and find out. The movie begins with some pretty brutal interrogation scenes. This is all happening in North Korea, and that there is CIA agent Evelyn Salt, who's about to be rescued by a convenient prisoner exchange. This right here is her close friend and also CIA agent Ted Winter, played by Liev Schreiber. Liev Schreiber also played Sabretooth, who I think is Canadian? That's why I'm bringing it up. It wasn't Ted Winter who set up the exchange though, it was actually her husband, Mike Krause, a famous spider guy.
A spider hunter.
Yeah, you look like one. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Why would anybody put that in a script?
You look like one.
Spider hunter.
We cut from scary prisoner exchange to 2 years in the future with Mike and Evelyn now all cutesy at home. And Salt's just chilling at work, laughing with Winter, just living a totally normal, not a Russian spy kind of life. But just as this normal day is ending, the plot kicks back in. An agent tells Winter and Salt they just had a walk-in Russian defector. They both head to the interrogation room to see if this guy's legit or not, and we briefly get introduced to a pretty important character here, Peabody, a counterintelligence agent who's involved in an investigation on a mole within the agency. I wonder who it could be. Peabody is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, who's probably my favorite supporting character in this film. He plays pissed off government agent guy pretty good. Salt heads in to interrogate this Russian defector, and he introduces himself as Oleg Orlov. Orlov confesses he's been diagnosed with cancer, and thus he has nothing more to lose. So he's here to divulge all the secrets. Orlov goes on to tell the story of a Russian baby named Chenkov, who was taken and trained with other Russian children to be an elite sleeper agent amongst American society. These sleeper agents are called the KAs, and their most recent mission is to kill the Russian president. This is all supposed to happen at the funeral of the American vice president, which is coming up. But I'm curious, Orlov, what's the name of the sleeper agent who's supposed to kill the president?
The name of the Russian agent is Salt. Evelyn Salt.
So yeah, this is pretty much where shit hits the fan. Peabody, being counterintelligence tracking a mole, wants to immediately apprehend Salt. Salt wants to immediately get a hold of Mike, as she thinks her cover as CIA is blown and her husband is in danger. And Orlov wants these 2 agents escorting him in this elevator to die. That gives us 2 agents we can add to our list for our first counting of the episode. Salt is put in the interrogation room when Peabody and Winter run to check on the commotion with Orlov. And from here, Salt decides to really prove her innocence and make a break for it. Salt's able to sneak around the building for a bit before she gets locked down on a floor. I mean, it's the CIA, like, we get a pretty sweet scene here where Salt builds an RPG. She uses her homemade rocket launcher when the CIA open the door to detain her on the floor. That gives us our first explosion to add. Nobody dies, I don't think, but they're disoriented enough that Salt gets free into a cab where she's able to finally head home to check on Mike, who's still not answering her calls. And of course, Winter and Peabody immediately assume that she's gonna go home, and they head there right away as well. When Salt gets to her apartment, she doesn't find Mike, but she does notice evidence of a struggle. Salt puts together some gear and grabs this spider that's important later, just before Peabody and gang show up. Peabody's team hit the place with a flashbang, and since flashbangs are technically listed as a low-power explosive, I'll count this as an explosion. Salt is able to make a pretty dangerous getaway over to her random child neighbor. Salt drops off her dog with this little girl and then just mentally checks out of life and has a vivid daydream about Mike. Where is that beautiful Mike?
Spider hunter.
Salt leaves the building just as Winter is leaving as well, and he notices her, starting the best chase scene we've had on this channel so far. And although Salt does her best bringing this chase all around town, she's seemingly cornered and about to be caught. There's still a whole fucking movie to go through though, so Salt just jumps off the overpass and onto the roof of a passing truck. This gives us a small part 2 to this chase, which I'll count as a separate one, cause the first one was technically over in my opinion. Salt does some more truck jumping to dodge Peabody and Winter, and she's able to steal a motorcycle and zoom through heavy traffic, finally getting away from the CIA. It's that easy.
Ah, shoot, oh darnosh.
From there, Salt heads to New York and preps for the vice president's funeral. At this point, we're still unsure as the viewer of her intentions, and she's getting all disguisey, so I mean, we're like, oh, Russian spy, she a spy. At the VP's funeral, Salt makes her way through the basement, knocking out a few guards along the way. It looks like 4 guards altogether, and even though she shoots this one guy through the shoulder, I won't count them because it all seems pretty non-lethal. Salt shoots this random power box, setting off the gigantic organ in the church. The organ going off really throws the place into a fit of chaos. I mean, it's just a lot of noise, and people are like full of like screaming in terror. Anyway, Salt throws a sticky nade and we get another sweet explosion to add as she blows the floor from underneath the Russian president. Yep, that's him right there. And she shoots him right in the goddamn face, yep. Peabody is close by enough to hear the shot, and he runs to Salt's location. Salt actually has the drop on him here, but doesn't shoot, instead surrendering and letting Peabody take her into custody. Salt has another flashback here, this time with her as a child in the Russian camp Orlov was talking about at the start of the movie. This being our confirmation that she is in fact the Chenkov baby, and this little guy with the scar on his face is Schneider. He'll be back in a sec. Salt does her thing again and shakes custody, but there's no kills, no explosions, and it's not even really a chase. She just kind of goes stealth. Which, I mean, that's cool, but it's not why we're here. From here, Salt heads to meet Orlov, who's really happy to see her, but not so happy that she got married and kind of settled into the American life, you know, so he might have taken Mike just a little bit. And that's when this movie gets really dark, with Orlov showing Salt, our beloved Mike, all tied up in some kind of fucking death water thing. I don't know. Orlov is really excited to show Salt how his death hole works, and yeah, just kills Mike right there for Salt and us to see. Orlov takes Salt to his office where he goes over the next part of the KA plan to kill the American president. Salt's all, yeah, that's cool, but what if I just kinda... Instead, she kinda goes ham a little bit too. That adds Orlov to our list. She grabs a gun and 3 nades from Orlov's stash and starts finishing the job, tossing all 3 nades, giving us 3 explosions to add, and just kinda unloading on these poor bastards, giving us 6 kills upstairs and 11 kills downstairs for a total of 17 kills. Salt's old buddy Schneider comes back in the next part. He gets Salt into the White House so she can stop the president's assassination. Schneider's really nice, but he's KA for life, and reveals he's actually a suicide bomber trying to blow up the president. Seeing his chance and taking it, stealing this agent's pistol and just kinda going wild. He kills 2 agents here before detonating himself, but I don't think the explosion kills anyone other than him. So I'll add an explosion for Schneider, and I'll add 3 kills for the 2 agents he killed before he blew up, as well as Schneider himself when he blew up. Winter and the Secret Service think it's probably Salt and take the president to the bunker below the White House. Salt takes this disoriented lady's ID card and goes after them. Although the Secret Service make it to the bunker, there's more bad news. As with the Russian president killed in America, Russia has deployed its missiles. So the American president goes for his nuke code too, and it's about to get radioactive in here. As he contemplates, a few guards are sent after Salt, and she just kind of whoops their asses. Again, seemingly non-lethally. Now kind of panicking, the Secret Service agent leader guy, I guess, is about to arm up and go after her himself. But Winter has a little surprise for us, everybody. A kill! And a whole bunch of more kills! That's 9 people we get to tally up. Ted Winter is revealed to also be K.A. But you wouldn't kill the President of the United States, would you, Winter? Oh, you totally would? Oh, okay, yeah, well, I guess we add the American president to the list as well. Winter goes for the nuke launch, and Salt comes in seeing the carnage. But just as Salt gains Winter's trust, a news report on a TV broadcasts that the Russian president actually survived. That's right, I didn't count him. Salt was an all-American gal the whole time. Salt used that spider from earlier to poison the bullet, shooting the president non-lethally to aid her in her con of the KA. Winter does his bad guy thing and starts the countdown for the nukes. Salt, unable to get into the bunker room, gets clever and shoots out the concrete wall behind the electronics to the massive door blocking her out. She's able to get in, and we get an all-out brawl between Salt and Winter. Some SWAT guys come in to break up the party, and Salt is able to disarm the nuke just in time before being launched. As Salt's being taken away, Winter is back playing CIA good guy, but Salt isn't about to let this dick walk, and jumps at him using the chains from her handcuffs to break his neck, adding Ted Winter, or Nikolai Tarkovsky, to our list. Salt is then taken into the custody of Peabody, who through the last events in the movie starts piecing together that, oh shit, maybe I kind of fucked up a little bit. And who also decides it's better that Salt's out there stopping the KAs than in the custody of the CIA. So he unlocks her handcuffs and he lets her go. Bullshit! Okay, well, he hits her and then he lets her go. There's a short little radio broadcast at the end of the movie about the new US president visiting Russia at the site where his parents were killed when he was a child, obviously insinuating that the new president is also now a Russian sleeper agent. And that's the end of the movie. So how action-packed was Salt? We got 35 kills, 7 explosions, and 2 chase scenes in Salt, giving us a total of 44 action events over a 104-minute runtime, leaving it more spy than die. This makes Salt 5th in kills, 6th in explosions, and tied for 3rd in chase scenes. But really, I mean, it takes the cake in chase scenes. If you like chase scenes, this is your movie. Thanks for watching Action Packed. What did you think of Salt? I don't think I really appreciated the plot when I saw it when I was younger, but I find it actually pretty well written. It's not a bad movie. Like I said in my terribly scripted intro to the video, the extended version has a completely different ending. I'm not gonna spoil it though. Take a look in the description. Yeah, take a peek-see down there. Yeah. Stay safe, everybody.